The paint industry is a $22 billion machine in the United States alone, and the brands filling the shelves at your local hardware store are banking on the fact that you won't know the difference between a formula built to last and a formula built to get you repainting every 3 to 4 years. Most people overlook the same thing. Professional painters have known for decades which cans to reach for and which ones to leave on the shelf. But the big box stores don't make their money when you buy once and never come back. They make their money when your trim starts peeling in 2 summers and you're back, loading up another cart. The real ones in this industry have been warning homeowners for years, and the field results don't lie. Here are 5 paint brands that will fail you before you even finish paying off the project, ranked from disappointing to absolutely unforgivable. Number 5. Glidden, the watered-down brand that treats your walls like an afterthought. Glidden has been a familiar name in hardware stores for years, sitting right there on the shelf at a price point that looks like a deal, and that's exactly how they get you. Glidden is a PPG brand, and PPG announced late in 2024 that it sold off all of its architectural coatings brands. So the company behind this paint has already walked away from it. Think about that. The manufacturer itself moved on. What does that tell you about the formula still sitting in those cans? Here's what most people miss about Glidden. The reason it's cheap isn't because they found some clever way to deliver quality for less. It's because they increased the volume by adding more water to the formula. That means thinner consistency, less pigment, less binder, less of everything that actually makes paint stick to your wall and stay there. Better paint brands use up to 50% solids in their formulas. The solids are what's left after the solvents evaporate. They're the pigment and the binder, the parts that give you color and adhesion. When a paint is mostly water, you get a runny mess that needs 3 coats to look halfway decent, and even then it won't hold. Consumer reviews back this up completely. One reviewer put it plainly, saying they tried Glidden Ultra and the paint was like water, needing 3 coats just to get a decent finish over a light gray surface. Another reported that 2 weeks after painting their entire kitchen, the cabinets were still sticky and the paint was peeling in random places. The field results don't lie. Coverage is weak, stain resistance is weak, and when it dries, it leaves an uneven, clumsy finish that looks like it was applied years ago, even when it's fresh. Here's how to actually use this information. If you see Glidden on the shelf and that price tag looks attractive, do the math on 3 coats instead of 1. Factor in the time, the extra gallons, and the strong chance you'll be repainting within a few years. That bargain evaporates fast. The reason Glidden gets overlooked as a problem brand is simple. It's everywhere, it's cheap, and most people assume paint is paint. It's probably on the shelf at the store you drive past every weekend, and now you know to keep walking. Number 4. Pittsburgh Paints. The abandoned brand running on borrowed time, Pittsburgh Paints has been around long enough that your parents might remember it, but reputation and current reality are 2 very different things. PPG, the longtime manufacturer behind Pittsburgh Paints, announced late in 2024 that it sold all of its architectural coatings brands. That means Pittsburgh Paints now sits under new ownership, and there's no way to know whether the new owner will maintain the formula, cut costs, or reformulate entirely to chase margins. That uncertainty alone should give any homeowner pause. But here's the thing, even before the sale, Pittsburgh Paints was already underperforming. The brand ranks well below competitors in customer satisfaction surveys, and the complaints from professionals are specific and damning. One review of Pittsburgh's Speed Hide line put it bluntly, saying multiple applications are required to get substandard results. That's not a budget issue, that's a formula issue. When a professional painter, someone who preps surfaces correctly and applies paint for a living, tells you the coverage fails after multiple coats, the problem is in the can. The testing backs this up. Paint durability comes down to what's called the ASTMD 2486 test, where an abrasive brush scrubs a painted panel and counts the cycles until the film breaks down. A quality washable paint survives 400 or more scrub cycles. That's the minimum for Green Seal GS11 certification. When a brand consistently delivers substandard results even with proper application, it's telling you the solids ratio, the resin quality, and the binder content aren't where they need to be. Here's how to actually use this information. If you have Pittsburgh Paints in your garage right now, or if a contractor suggests it as a budget option, understand what you're buying. You're buying an orphaned formula from a brand whose parent company walked away, and the track record before the sale wasn't strong enough to inspire confidence. The reason Pittsburgh Paints gets overlooked is name recognition. People remember the brand from decades past and assume it's still the same product. It's not. The company that made it doesn't even own it anymore. If that can is sitting in your basement from a project 2 years ago, check the walls it's on. You might already be seeing the evidence. If you're guilty of covering your walls with paint from this brand, let us know in the comments below. Number 3. Dulux, the weather shield that can't handle the weather. Dulux sells itself on protection. Their Weather Shield line is marketed specifically to withstand harsh temperatures and keep your exterior looking fresh. The promise sounds exactly like what every homeowner wants to hear. The problem is the paint doesn't deliver on that promise, and the failures show up fast. If you're starting to see the pattern, if you're realizing that the brands taking up the most shelf space aren't necessarily the ones that'll still look good on your walls 3 years from now, do me a favor and hit that like button. It helps this reach people who are actually trying to make smart decisions about their homes before they spend thousands on a paint job. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you're exactly the kind of person we make these videos for. Customers report that Dulux Weather Shield paint peeled off within 3 months. Not 3 years, 3 months. Their Dulux matte line starts fading the moment you try to clean dirt off the surface, which defeats the entire purpose of a painted wall. And the product that let down customer expectations the most was the Dulux Matte Emulsion Pure Brilliant White. Buyers reported a patchy finish with an orange tint to it, which is about as far from brilliant white as you can get. The field results don't lie. Beyond the peeling and the fading, consumers report that the fumes are potent enough to cause headaches even 2 full days after application. And some reviews flag that the painted surfaces became a breeding ground for fungus. When your paint is peeling in 90 days and growing mold, that's not a durability issue, that's a product failure. Here's how to actually use this information. If you're looking at Dulux for an exterior project, especially the Weather Shield line, know that the name suggests protection the formula doesn't provide. For interior work, the matte line lacks the scrub resistance you need in any room that actually gets lived in. The reason Dulux gets overlooked as a problem brand is branding. The name sounds premium, the packaging looks professional, and the Weather Shield marketing is convincing. But the walls in your home don't care about marketing. They care about resin quality, binder content, and adhesion. If you've got Dulux on your bathroom walls right now, you might already be seeing what those reviewers were talking about. Number 2, Valspar. The trusted name that got gutted from the inside. This one stings because Valspar used to be a brand people believed in. Founded in 1806, Valspar built more than 2 centuries of history in the paint business. Then in 2017, Sherwin-Williams bought them out. And while Sherwin-Williams makes some of the best paint on the planet under its own name, the consensus among professionals and consumers is that they let Valspar's quality fall off a cliff. Think about that. A brand with over 200 years of history, and the people who actually use it are now reporting that even the top-of-the-line products come out watery or dry too quickly, leaving obvious streaks. Valspar currently holds a 1.3-star rating from 54 consumer reviews, with 92 out of every 100 reviews unfavorable. That's not a few unhappy customers. That's nearly universal dissatisfaction, but the real story is worse than bad reviews. As of 2025, there is an active class action investigation into Valspar exterior paint. The manufacturer provides a lifetime warranty and markets the product as long-lasting and durable, but the investigation found that the paint causes severe damage to vinyl siding, including warping, buckling, bubbling, peeling, and expansion. One professional who does restoration work on 100-year-old homes and businesses was talked into using Valspar barn and post paint based on the cheap cost. Peeling within 1 season, fading within 1 season, on surfaces that have held other paints for decades. The pros who do this work every day have seen the pattern. Many complaints describe the first coat of paint peeling and cracking the very next day. Not the next year, the next day. Here's how to actually use this information. If someone recommends Valspar because they remember what it used to be, understand that the formula changed hands in 2017 and the results changed with it. If you've already got Valspar exterior paint on your vinyl siding, monitor it closely for warping or bubbling. The reason Valspar gets overlooked as a problem brand is pure legacy. The name carries 2 centuries of goodwill that the current product no longer earns. That can of Valspar is probably available at the hardware store you trust most, and that familiarity is exactly what makes it dangerous. Number 1. Behr Paint and Primer in One. The most trusted brand in America that's costing contractors tens of thousands in repairs. This is the one that's going to challenge everything you thought you knew. Behr was named America's most trusted paint brand in 2026 for the 5th consecutive year, based on a study of over 12,000 individuals nationwide. That's a massive consumer endorsement, and yet the professionals who apply paint for a living are telling a completely different story, and the contradiction is exactly why this brand sits at number 1 on this list. And here's what most people miss. Something changed in Behr's formula around 2022, and the fallout has been severe. A general contractor reported in February of 2026 that until about 2022, Behr was a decent choice for lower budget projects. After 2022, they had nothing but problems, costing tens of thousands of dollars to repair. The main problem has been blistering and peeling of all Behr products that claim to include paint and primer in one. Those products fail to bond to the substrate, leaving air-filled pillows or paint that peels off in sheets. Every pro who's dealt with this knows it. The consistency issues go both ways. Some Behr lines run watery, meaning extra coats and extra gallons. Others, like the Premium Plus Ultra, go the opposite direction and come out so thick that getting a smooth, even coat becomes its own challenge. Another customer reported that any dark color, when painter's tape or paint mask is used on it, peels like a bad sunburn. At $75 a gallon for some lines, that's an expensive lesson. Here's how to actually use this information. The Trust Survey measures brand recognition and sentiment. It doesn't measure what happens on your walls 3 years after application. If you're considering Behr, avoid the paint and primer in one product specifically. That's where the bonding failures are concentrated. Make sure your surfaces are properly prepped and never skip a dedicated primer, because the all-in-one promise is where the failures live. The reason Behr gets overlooked as a problem is obvious. It's the most trusted name in America. It's the brand your neighbor recommends, the one your big box store puts front and center. And that trust is precisely why the failures cost so much. You don't question the brand until the paint is already peeling off your walls. If you just finished a project with Behr's paint and primer combo, it's probably on your walls right now, and only time will tell you what the contractors already know. Now here's the other side of this story, because knowing what to avoid is only half the battle. 3 brands have earned the trust of professional painters through decades of field-proven performance, and they come with the warranties to back it up. Benjamin Moore, specifically the Aura and Regal Select lines. Aura offers superior coverage and durability with advanced technology that resists fading, peeling, and mildew growth. Regal Select delivers a durable finish that resists cracking, blistering, dirt pickup, and fumes. Both carry lifetime limited warranties. A gallon of Regal Select covers 400 to 450 square feet, which is significantly more than many competitors. Brad Henderson, Senior Product Manager at Benjamin Moore, has spoken about their commitment to engineering formulas backed by lifetime warranties that let homeowners paint with confidence. Sherwin-Williams Duration and Emerald. Duration has been the benchmark for exterior durability since it was introduced in 2004. Professional painters with over 20 years in the business say they use Duration exclusively and that it still looks new after 10+ years, resisting mold, mildew, and dirt. Consumer Reports gives it top marks. Emerald sits at the very top of the Sherwin-Williams lineup. Professionals call it the benchmark. The color looks richer, it self-levels beautifully, and it covers like nothing else. When budget isn't the primary concern, Emerald is what goes on the wall. The cross-linking resin system in Emerald cures harder than mid-tier paints, fighting dirt pickup and stains at a level other formulas can't match. Rhino Shield, the elastomeric coating that comes with a lifetime residential warranty and a 25-year commercial warranty. This is an acrylic urethane elastomeric coating that combines acrylic resins with urethane technology, creating a flexible, robust layer of protection against harsh climates and relentless sun. Their process emphasizes thorough surface preparation before applying primer and top coat, and that meticulous approach is a major reason the finish holds for decades. If you made it all the way to the end, you've just learned something most people never will. The paint brands filling the shelves aren't ranked by quality, they're ranked by marketing budget, and the difference between a 5-year failure and a lifetime finish comes down to resin quality, solids content, and whether the company behind the can is willing to stand behind what's inside it. Smash that like button if this changed how you think about the paint sitting on your walls right now. Drop a comment and tell me which one surprised you most. Team Behr, the trusted brand that's secretly failing? Team Valspar, the 200-year-old name under class action investigation? Or Team Sherwin-Williams Duration, the 20-year benchmark that pros won't stop talking about? And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. I'd love to have you on this journey with us. Remember, sometimes the best protection for your home isn't on the end cap display at the big box store. Sometimes it's in the cans the professionals keep reaching for, waiting for you to finally ask them what they actually use.